Hello and welcome to the final tiny table talk for The Challenge All-Stars Season 3. And as I mentioned on my Wednesday's review and recap, this is a Comment Palooza. I went through the comment section of my review and recap for The Challenge All-Stars Season 3, Episode 9, and I got over 20 comments to read, comment on, answer, and all that good stuff in this video. So let's just jump right into the comments. The first comment comes from Chris, who says, RIP to the Lightning Stanley Cup journey. The beard is looking nice and trimmed. I feel like you've been holding on to that one ever since the Rangers lost and we made it to the Stanley Cup finals. But yes, I decided that I would trim the beard. I was almost thinking about going completely shaven, but I thought that would be a shock to not only you, the audience, but me, myself, every time I would look into the mirror. The next comment comes from Solo Protege, who says, the cliffhanger continuation was such a letdown. They built up that much suspense for a 30 beatdown from Nehemiah and no elimination for the girls. I think them going straight into another challenge would have been a better cliffhanger, but that's just me. It's not just you, because I said almost the exact same thing on my review and recap for this episode. So maybe you're not a solo protege, maybe this is a duo protege moment here. David comes in with a comment saying, when I tell you, I can't begin to describe the overwhelming joy I felt when Nehemiah beat Derek. Please believe it. The quote, easy choice. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Derek was ready for the smoke that Nehemiah was ready to give him. Like, Derek had all day to prepare to going into the elimination because he knew he was going to be called out by Mark. Yet when it came down to the actual execution of the elimination, an elimination that Derek, mind you, is well aware of, he was just not ready for it, and he got beat relatively quickly. Kiara comes in with a comment saying, I hope I'm not the only one, but I'm actually glad that Derek lost, LOL. His cockiness and poor sportsmanship was really bugging me. Glad Nehemiah made quick work of him. You are not the only one. I mean, David and I both agreed that we liked seeing Nehemiah win. But I'm relatively shocked how quick this elimination was. I mean, I sat there going like, if this was a longer elimination, then they would have shown as much of it as they could have to really get our mouths watering and possibly save a little bit more of the finals. But the elimination was like 2 minutes. I even think that it was the 2.5 minute mark altogether. And the recap takes like 1.5 minutes. So it was even that much quicker than I'm actually thinking that it was. The next comment comes from the Great Blast Cannon. Great YouTube name, by the way. They say, imagine if Derek had called Wes out and Wes won, which he would have. Yes, I 100% agree. Wes would blow out these finals too easily as Nehemiah is the only one close to him and would lose on a 10-point deficit. Damn. I didn't even think of that, but yes, Wes would have won easily. He would have had 6 points, or he would have had 6 stars on his jersey. Possibly at that point, maybe John A doesn't even get her 5 points. Maybe it would have been the highest star getter for both the men and the women, but it sounded like no second place gets any points. So possibly Wes would have been the only person getting plus 5 points, and then he would have just ran away with it. He's the first at every checkpoint, and then he's won every checkpoint. Tyler comes in with a comment saying, no elimination for the women was kind of lame. There were very few eliminations for the women this season, and all of them flopped. Best one was Naya's one-shot wonder. Glad Naya is finally doing well, but she isn't as much of a runner as she looks. Kayla runs funny, but at least she is consistently one of the best runners so far. Rest of the final looks epic. I didn't notice this, but there were fewer women eliminations, like by far fewer women's eliminations because of how many people had to leave either due to family emergency or being medically DQ'd. Eliminations in total this season were relatively duds. Even the pole wrestle was a dud, in my opinion, because of how quickly and how very unenthusiastic it was. Like, it wasn't thrilling at all, the pole wrestle. I didn't like any of the eliminations, realistically. They're supposed to be the nice ending or thrilling ending to every single episode, for the most part, and I just felt like majority of them were puzzles. Most of them were endurance, and it was just not as thrilling or exciting as past All-Star seasons and really past any season. And I do think that it has something to do with the age difference of a lot of the players. Amber comes in with a comment saying, "Could you look me in the eye and tell me that you're happy now, just to get it stuck in your head again? You're welcome." No, thank you. It's been stuck in my head. I'm telling you, 19 years. And then I finally got it out because Michelle Branch hasn't come out with any new music in quite a while. And then now you're just like really cementing it into my brain. I'm going to be going on Spotify very soon to listen to more Michelle Branch because she's got some real jams. Doc's Pop Reviews comes in with a comment saying, "Kayla trying to be friendly with Nia, Jonna, and Kellyanne after the treehouse has been cleaned out was just fake. The ladies knew it too." It was the moment where they were all gathered around the dining room table and they did the cheers, and Kayla's on the opposite end of Jonna, Kellyanne, and Nia, and she tries to like do this thing of like, I can't believe we got here. We're the last 4 women left in this game, and we all got here in different ways. And I could just tell that Nia, I think I saw Nia's like eyes roll back into her head, and she was just like, you could shut up now. Like, you're ruining the moment. I was starting to finally enjoy this time and kind of get into the mindset of like, I'm in the finals, and you could just tell like Kayla's voice is just like nails on a chalkboard to Nia. Lakeem comes in with a comment saying, "Wes is body goals." I will say that I am about to go to the store and be on the baguette and Nutella diet to get this body. I know he was carbo loading it for the finals and the run and everything, but yeah, he was flexing really hard. And you know what? If I could look like that while flexing, yeah, I would be all about that. William comes in with a comment saying, "Kind of a letdown with the stars just benefiting Nehemiah and John A and having no strategic use in the final. Mark and Kellyanne will get purged from the final soon, in my opinion. Thanks for a great season of recaps." Oh no, thank you for joining me on this journey. It's kind of crazy to think that another season has passed. I almost get like, you know, like an end of a school kind of vibes whenever the end of a season is starting. More so on the main season because it takes so much longer. It's like 20-something weeks, 20-something episodes. This is still like a big thing because it's 10 episodes, 2.5 months. But yeah, it's crazy that we're coming up to an end of another season. I'm glad you've liked the recaps and reviews. I don't know if there will be a purge. If there is, Mark and Kellyanne need to pick it up if there is a purge, because they're going to have to try to make up some time, make up some points. But I just don't know if there will be a purge. I think that they will stay there the whole time because there are only 8 people, and I don't think that they would try to knock down them to 6 only. I think the stars were a letdown in general. For how long they've held on to what the stars mean to just mean a certain amount of points once in the finals was kind of blah. And you know what really kind of upsets me? And Chantel brought it up in the past Friday's live for the Challenge All-Stars 3 Episode 8 talk that we do on Fridays on Chris and Chantel's channel, is that it's kind of unfair for a player such as Brad, who has played such a dominating game, winning so many daily challenges, being able to use his social game to stay out of eliminations, yet he is kind of coming into the finals at a huge disadvantage because he was able to not see an elimination. Like, he was in power for majority of the weeks, majority of this game. Because he was winning, he's now at a disadvantage because he didn't go into an elimination. And I thought that that was a problem. Now, I did watch the sneak peek to the Challenge USA where TJ says that they need a certain amount of money to make it to the finals or be eligible to make it to the finals. And you can get money by either winning eliminations or winning daily challenges. And in my mind, I was like, why couldn't that be the case for this season? Why couldn't you have won stars for winning like first place? You could have had winning first place get you a star. And I think that would have balanced it out to where if you play well, you're rewarded. If you win an elimination, you're rewarded. I think that would have been a better balance than, say, only people who go into elimination get stars. Sue Bird comes in with a comment saying, "I think it's kind of unfair that Nehemiah gets 5 points to start and Mark doesn't start off with any because he only has one less star. And it's kind of like that thought process of Mark was winning so much towards the end of the game, and he won 2 eliminations to get his 4 stars, where Nehemiah just whooped up on Derek to get his 4 stars all in one clump. Not trying to discredit Nehemiah for having the most stars out of the men, because he played the game, he played the way it was meant to be played, and he benefited from it greatly. But it does seem kind of weird that it was 5-4, yet Nehemiah gets all the reward and Mark gets nothing, and he seems to be sputtering out in these finals a bit. Brandonce says, "Hi Drew, my question is to you. Who are you rooting for to grab the win in All-Stars 3 for guys and girls, and put the Final Four in order how you think / want them to finish? Like for me, I want John A. and Wes to win. Then in second, I want Nehemiah and Naya. Then third, Mark and Kellyanne. And fourth, Brad and Kayla. So what's your order?" I did a finals preview this past Saturday, kind of going over who was left in the game, where I thought that they would land on the game. I had Wes and John A. at the top, at the number 1 spot, thinking that they had the best shot of pulling out the win comparatively to the rest of the group. Then I had in second place Brad and Kellyanne, then Mark and Kayla, and at the bottom I had Nehemiah and Naya. Seeing how everybody is doing at the beginning of this race, and I know it's not how you start, it's how you finish, but if you start really well and have such a huge lead on everybody, it's going to be hard to come back. And I think Naya is showing me and everybody else that not to underestimate her. This might be her first finals, but she is coming in really putting her foot down and crushing some of these checkpoints, majority of these checkpoints. And so I'm going to say that I think I'm still going to have Wes and John A. up at the top, but I'm thinking that Naya is really picking up some steam. I'm going to say Naya in second place. I really like Nehemiah. He is really coming in strong. So I'm going to say Nehemiah in second place. Brad, I would drop down to third place. Kayla, third place. And Mark and Kellyanne. I think Kellyanne can pick up some steam here. But again, if you just wait too much longer, you're going to start falling behind. And she's already gone up against Kayla and lost. She's gone up against Naya and lost. And realistically, I think if she goes up against John A. in anything, she could lose that as well. And the same with Mark on his end. Also, he's talked about how his hamstring was hurting him. So I'm worried that maybe he starts to cramp up a little bit more, or that is a foreshadowing of something to come where he's like running down a mountain or running down a trail and he like pulls up and he can't really go any further because his the back of his leg is hurting him too much. So I'm hoping nobody medically DQs or gets injured during this final, but that's where I have it now, revising what I said in my Saturday's finals preview that I did earlier before we even got to the finals. 513 Tuna comes in with a comment saying, "I was worried about Naya when I saw her take off running. Her knee wasn't looking good. I think she's in trouble if there's a lot more running." I can tell you for a fact there's going to be a lot more running. I mean, these are the finals. We've just saw 2 checkpoints / 3 checkpoints, the beginning of a 3rd checkpoint, and they already did a fantastic amount of running, especially in the 2nd checkpoint where they had to run to see the board. I did see the knee brace on Naya's knee, which is concerning, but she still seems to be doing well and making up time within the checkpoints, winning each checkpoint. So I do think that I'm worried for Naya's knee, but she's crushing it right now. And if she keeps up with this momentum, I could see her really contending to get this challenge win, which I'm excited for. The next comment comes from Lydia, who says, "I honestly do not understand why the partner running. If anything, I feel it is unfair. It does not really serve any real purpose. I can understand why Brad is getting upset because he is losing points in the running portion and it's not his fault." I think that this was a way for the challenge to implement a partner portion of these finals, because they've done this in the past, right? They've had point systems in the past where everybody had to do something with a partner on a task. When you look back at those paired portions of those finals, people will like complain that, oh, well, if I didn't have this certain partner at this portion, then I could have won this thing. Or because I had A, B, or C at 1, 2, and 3, then it really made me lag behind. If I would have done it in an opposite order, I would have crushed these finals. So they didn't want that kind of complaints from the players, but they still wanted a partner portion to the finals, so they decided to just pair them up to the run. I agree, it serves no real purpose whatsoever. They can't even pick their partners, which I think is a kind of a messed up part to it, because wherever you finish the checkpoint, you get whoever finished at the same time or at the same position of the opposite gender. So Wes paired up with Nia isn't anything to do with like, oh, well, we have to be partnered with each other because we haven't been partnered up with each other and I kind of want to be partnered up with you at this point. No, it's just wherever they end up with a checkpoint, we have to run together, which I think is kind of weird. Alice comes in with a comment saying, when Brad was like, I'm excited to get through the partner portion so we can get to the individual part where we run for the money, oops, that was rude. That was really funny, but Brad was hauling tail at that third run. Like, he was booking it. I was actually nervous for Brad because he had that cramp and Kellyanne had to massage it before getting on the bikes, but honestly, he looked better than ever as he was hightailing it through the woods and to the beach. Ina comes up with a comment saying, Nia is showing up in the areas she's strongest, so even though she may not be an overall threat, she isn't giving up. Let's go, Nia. Yes, I'm very impressed with Nia. I'm happy to see her doing well in these finals. I worried back in episode 8 when she wouldn't jump out of the helicopter, but I think she's been able to shake that off and get right into the zone, and she is absolutely crushing it. But here it comes in with a comment saying, I love this finale so far. It's the perfect balance of rewarding winning and keeping it within reach. Wes is killing it, coming back from a 5-point deficit to a 3-point lead. I am very happy that we have a close race point-wise in the finals so far. I hope it stays very contested and close to the very end, because I think that's what's going to make for a more compelling finals. And also, as long as we don't get any like shady stuff like we did in All-Stars 2, I think these finals could be miles and miles ahead of the finals that were done in All-Stars 1 and All-Stars 2. It's already better than All-Stars 2. I'm still trying to figure out if it's better than All-Stars 1 final. Right now, I think All-Stars 1 has it, but I want to see the rest of these finals to really be able to compare both. The next comment comes from Cody, who says, I'm honestly rooting for Nia to win the season. I wanted to highlight this comment for the amazing wordplay of Nia. I am so jealous I didn't come up with it. It seems so simple, yet it's ingenious. Shizzy77G says, did you see the clip in the episode where you see John A versus Kayla in a wrestling match? I'm super interested to see that. I think that's another checkpoint. I think when we do the whole when we do the kayak portion, there will be a floating platform and you have to pick whoever you haven't gone up against just yet. And so I think we're going to see John A versus Kayla. And I also think you're going to see Wes versus Nehemiah. Explosions are going to happen, which would mean that we would have Brad versus Mark, and then we would have Nia versus Kellyanne. I almost wish, instead of Kayla versus John A, that we could see Nia versus Kayla in that wrestling match. How incredible would that be? Just the buildup of this, you cheated, I don't want anything to do with Kayla, I can't stand her, to then them being able to fight on top of a floating platform in the middle of these finals would be incredible. I would have loved to see that. And the final comment comes from Alexis, who says, I am so impressed with Nia's performance in this final. I am embarrassed to admit that I got teary-eyed watching her. I knew Wes was going to kill it. I'm a little shocked with Kellyanne, John A, and Brad's performances, but they could easily pick it up. Love your content, Drew. You always say exactly what I'm thinking. I'm very touched to hear that you love the content. There's a lot more coming, and I'm happy to know that I make you laugh as I try to be funny in some of the videos and try to be entertaining as well as educational and get the points across. And yeah, exactly what you said. Kelly and John A and Brad's performances are shocking. especially Janae, who I thought coming into this season, who I thought was going to be a shoo-in once making it to the finals, plus getting those plus 5 points. I thought she was absolutely going to crush this, but she seems to be having some difficulties in this heat running, and then once in the checkpoints, she's just not having that same fervor or strength as, say, going up against Naya in the paddle boats. But she was able to pick up some 5 points against Kayla in the memory puzzle. Great thing that she went up against her. And then she was lagging a little bit behind. I mean, she was staying with the pack, but comparatively to Brad, who is like running far ahead of everybody, and then tethered to Janae, and Janae is back in the pack with the running. I think Janae is trying to pace herself with everybody else, and it's still early in these finals. So, like you said, all 3 of those players can pick it up, but if they don't pick it up very soon, then they could be lagging behind, and this could be a long finals for them if, say, Mark and Kellyanne don't start picking up some of these 4 points and 5 points in these checkpoints and runs. Wes is killing it. I'm actually kind of surprised with Mark when he was like, after the star puzzle and the memory puzzle, and he was like, Wes is a sleeper. Once he got into these finals, he's actually killing it. And I was like, a sleeper? Are you kidding me? Like, after Jordan, I would think Wes was the biggest competition in this game, and I would be so worried to see him in the final. So I don't know what you're talking about with sleeper, because I knew who Wes was as a player. And coming into the finals, I knew he was absolutely going to crush it. Like, I'm surprised he only saw 1 elimination this season, because I thought with Jordan gone that he would be someone that would be thrown in over and over and over again because of his reputation and making it to the finals. Wes looks absolutely incredible. Running, he seems to be the most in shape, have the most endurance out of the men especially, and he is just like calm, cool, and collected. I don't think he sweat at all during like the second run and the bike ride. He just seemed to be so calm, cool, and collected, and then once in the checkpoints, he doesn't freak out. He knows a strategy and he just goes with it, and he's just grabbing points left and right. But I think that these finals are relatively still close. I can't wait to see what the wrap up is going to be and what the rest of the finals are going to look like come next week in the final episode of Challenge All-Stars 3. I want to say thank you to everyone who has watched these videos, watched every Tiny Table Talk, watched every review and recap, or if you discovered me during this season and came across one of my review and recaps of Tiny Table Talks and kept watching up to this point, thank you so much. Again, when it comes to the end of a season, I always kind of like look back and reflect and be like, wow, that's another season down. I had a great time making these videos this season. This was a really fun season to cover, and I can't wait to see what's going to be coming with the Challenge USA that's going to be coming up, and then the Challenge 38 that will be happening later this year, and all the other spin-offs. I'm excited for all the challenge content to come, and also all the challenge content and videos that I'll be making. I want to give a special shout out, thank you to everyone who supports me over at patreon.com/angelcakevids. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you to everyone who is watching this video up to this point. I really, really appreciate it. Again, thank you so much for watching this video and watching this Tiny Table Talk and commenting. And it really just puts a smile on my face, and I really, really appreciate it. I'll be back really, really soon with more challenge content, more content in general. But until then, peace. Because you're everywhere to me. And when I close my eyes, it's you I see. You're everything I know that makes me believe I'm not alone. No, 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 I'm not alone.